I made you guys some nice tea, so let's get this started.
Christ, I hope no one's watching this.
Hey, you kid over there. Welcome back to Tea Time Boys. Original Tea Time Boys are back. Original Tea Time Boys. We actually have tea, and we're just OTT boys.
Yeah, and for those of you who thought the last one was the very last one because it got kind of riled up and said it was the last one, sorry to disappoint you. Or not sorry because this is amazing.
What's amazing? Tea Time Boys? Do you actually enjoy doing this?
I find it fun.
I do too. I didn't really think too many people would. Or, okay, I came off. We'll see. It's more like I just enjoy doing this sort of stuff.
Well, yeah.
I wonder why that is. It's like that phenomenon where you're on camera and you're more likely to do something stupid and out there.
What, you mean every person on Snapchat?
Well, yeah, the Snapchat, just in general. If you're walking downtown and you see a person who's doing a live report on CNN, you just want to be like, whoa, I'm on TV.
Yeah, I don't know why people really enjoy the camera a lot. Not that
it changes people.
I'm not camera shy, but
I'd never be on camera.
Actually,
have you ever been on camera? If someone were to
Shoot, have I been on camera? Do you mean me directly? Just me?
Yeah. Or maybe some sort of shot that maybe it was you.
Well, there are a bunch of memes making fun of me, but on the internet somewhere. No, I've been interviewed from a dude who worked for The Edge.
But you were interviewed, really?
Well, yeah,
he was got on.
I don't know, but it was the craziest thing. Should I just retell the story?
Yeah, retell. I've never heard this story.
So basically, this guy, I think it was Justin or something, he comes up to, I'm talking to a friend of mine who I hadn't seen since first year because we're in different streams in my program, and he was on an internship or something like that, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. He's a really, really nice guy, and I used to have physics class with him and stuff like that. And so we were just hanging out and chatting, and another one of his friends, or close acquaintances or whatever you want to call it, that he hadn't seen in a while, comes up to us and we start talking. And then this random guy comes up to us with the microphone. He's a dude who's either he's a student also with an internship with the Edge radio station.
The Edge. What is it?
102.1.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
102.1 The Edge.
Yeah.
102.1 The Edge, you say?
Yeah, 102.1 The Edge. So it's a it's a return radio station.
Seamless.
This guy, yeah, my school has a radio television program that's really good. So this guy, I think, was a student and also had an internship or co-op or something with this guy. And so he says he's gonna ask us something so he wants to ask us a question that may be on the radio station later. And so he asks what's the worst piece of sex advice you ever got or something like that.
What did you say?
And so I said I never really had anybody give me advice. Or because I didn't really hang around dudes who just randomly tell other people what to do about their intimate lives and such and some such. So all I could think of was when you remember this when we went to a ski and snowboard program for a week in March.
Yeah, spring break.
Yeah, and for spring March break
that
where
was great.
We had to wake up ridiculously early to get on a bus to go 2 hours to
about 5:30.
Yeah, something like that, to go and learn or practice our skiing or snowboarding skills. I did the snowboarding, you did the skiing too.
Yeah, ski boy right here.
Yeah. So my instructor was this crazy guy. You think a prototypical snowboarder is a really relaxed, calm dude. But this dude was kind of pretty hyper and stuff like that. And this was the guy who ended up reading us some Anne Rice book on the way up on the slope off his iPhone or iPod or something like that. And I was the oldest guy in the group, and I was about 15, and most of the other kids were 12, 11, something like that. So he's reading this stuff to us, and then it came up in conversation, or I just mentioned it as a joke, the concept of 69. I don't just.
Oh no.
Yeah, no. So then this guy didn't give advice because it wasn't that wasn't the answer to the question. Instead, all I could think of, because this guy didn't give anybody advice, he just started complaining to us, 15 and under, 10 to 15-year-olds about why he doesn't like that particular activity. The semantics of why he didn't enjoy it.
Oh my god.
He doesn't want someone's buttocks in his facial region for fear of skin deformities and all that crap.
Well, he's afraid of some shit on his face. Is that what you're saying?
No, he just doesn't want to have like a pimply butt in his.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
There was one time.
And that's the story. That was basically. And so I told that guy he laughed his ass off, and so it might have made it on. I don't think it did, but I really hope not.
I got a story about a pimply butt. Is that how it works?
Well, no, I have a story about a guy who randomly started like complaining about like that. Like nobody asked him about his personal life and his opinion. It's just like, oh man, like you know what's so stupid about that? Have you ever thought about like what actually happened there?
You 12-year-olds, have you ever thought about the logistics
Yeah.
of 69? And they're like, we play like a Halo or some shit. There was like something about ski instructors, or kind of like that too. My ski instructor, we were chilling. This is like near the end of the day, and everyone was just dead tired. Near the end of the week, and we were just like, okay, fuck it. You know what? There's like an hour left. If you guys want to free ski, go ahead. Otherwise, you can just chill here. So I was chilling for a bit, and then I was gonna go out. And the guy I'm chilling with, just like the instructor, and he's like 2 years older than me.
So he was about 17 or 18.
Yeah, no, he was 17.
Okay.
And most of the people were 15, 16 in my thing, and then he was 17.
Yeah.
Because he was just like a crazy good skier.
Okay.
And he just out of nowhere, he just turns to me, just like, dude, I got the craziest story. And he's like, what? He's like, my friend just texted me, said he was having sex with his chick, and like they were going at it, and then he said like his friend described it as like, I was going at it and I felt something jiggle, like gurgle. And I was like, oh, but I'm fine. Like, I didn't eat anything. And I realized I didn't feel my gurgle. I felt her gurgle. And then I'm like, by the time I realized this, she was throwing up all over me. And I pulled out naturally, and she threw up all over the junk, all over everything. And then he's like, needless to say, I didn't see her again. And I'm like, when did this happen? He's like, about 5 minutes ago.
What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people?
I can't imagine that sort of stuff. There's some people that are into that, like
Throwing up on people?
I
Or
mean,
do you mean
some-
just not shutting up and just telling people that friends of yours, like, oh yeah, I did this really crazy thing happened. I'm gonna tell you this random guy right now.
you know, they're close. Hey, let me
Yeah,
just
but
tell
you and him more.
yeah, that's a good point. It was really funny. I asked him what he was giggling about, so it's like a little bit of.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like your snowboard instructor complained about 69. My ski instructor talking about.
How his buddy just had the worst experience of his life.
I totally miss skiing, man.
Yeah, no, I haven't snowboarded in like 4 years or something, or 5 years, and I really want to.
We should go.
Yeah.
Like we should set aside a weekend, maybe like in reading week, like the first weekend in reading week, and just pop up.
Yeah, just hopefully like again I may have like I'll take a day off for sure, but I don't know if I can take more than one just because.
No, it's only a day. Like we'll just do a day trip to.
Blue or something, or even Dagmar or something.
We could do
Mount St. Louis.
Yeah, Mount St. Louis. Those are all good. Well,
It'll have to be in somebody else's car because mine doesn't have snow tires.
I think mine does.
Cool.
We'll see. Anyway, regardless, like I went up this year and it was kind of shitty because my brother Rowan, who's been on this podcast, we went with him. Then we went with girlfriend Shayna.
Yeah.
So Shayna's a really good.
Kick my ass in snowboarding because she totally can.
She's a really good snowboarder.
I believe it. Like I'm bad. I can't go
You're
switch.
pretty good.
I can't go switch, man.
Well, she was just like that day. Like she wasn't like feeling good at all. We went out to like Fat Bastards burrito.
Oh, that's a great place to go if you're feeling terrible.
The day before, and
Okay, that
then
makes
she
sense.
just like felt shitty all day. So she was feeling crap. Rowan didn't know how to ski, so he spent a lot of the day near the bunny hills because. Oh my god, I'm telling the story. So the first time we get up there, I was like, I haven't been skiing in like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was a little, actually even more. It's probably like 5 or 6. And I was just like, shit, like. I don't know how good I am. Like, will I be able to pick it up? Is it like riding a bike? And I got up there and I just shredded. Like everything came back muscle memory.
Yeah.
And I was turning, like I was putting my pulls up. I was just like, I was feeling it, right? I was really, really good.
Did you do the horrible open jacket fly like a bird thing?
Well, it's the day.
I hope you didn't.
We didn't.
The worst.
Well, we did in February where it was like 10 degrees or something like that.
Oh,
so
crap.
it was just boiling outside.
Oh, wow.
So it was really, really hot. So yeah, I did do that. I was going down in like t-shirts because it was just so freaking hot. It was basically just I was like t-shirt, goggles, helmet, let's go. And I just like shot the shit. And then Rowan, he's like, I haven't skied in like since I was like in grade 7.
Oh,
so,
fun.
And you know this is
That's
last
a while
year.
ago.
So then he was like 25. So that's more than a decade. So we're like, oh shit. And we're like, we'll go on the bunny hill, you pick it up. And skiing is really, really, like, with snowboarding as well, the best way that you can slow down is by turning, right? If you just gun it.
You turn really briskly. That's how you do it. Like,
well, you can turn briskly, or if you do, like, slow ones, you'll still go down slower,
yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, you dig your edges in, and you just, like, turn fast.
Yeah,
you
and
dig
like,
your edge in and turn fast.
And the way you do it in skiing, it's basically almost becomes like a beat. It's just right, left, right, like a good solid speed.
Yeah, that's how you people evaluate you. Can you do this? Okay, turn and stop at the bottom.
Yeah, so Rowan was going, and he's going, and I'm like, you got to turn, and we did like little areas, and he was like having a tough time, and he was turning, he was getting it. I'm like, okay, this is like the steep part of the hill. Just go down to like, because it was like steep, and then like a little like
pizza or French fry.
He was going full French fry.
Okay, so he's killing it.
So no, like I'll tell you. So there's like a little tiny hill. It's hard to say it, but showing it to Michael. So basically, there's a little hill, and then there's like a little like what was that, a crevasse, like a little like flat area.
Flat area, okay.
And then really steep area, flat area, and then final little stretch part.
Okay.
So there's a little tiny flat area, and we got into like near the top, did a little area, and then I'm like, Rowan, this is the steepest area. Try turning. We'll meet you at the flat part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why don't you go first? You know, in case you fall, I can like grab you. You can't go back up the mountain. And so he's like, okay, and he starts going. And I'm like, okay, Rowan, you should turn. Just going. He's going. I'm like, Rowan, like, turn. You're gonna go in too fast. And he's gone. Just right?
Oh boy.
And he's flying. I'm like, Rowan, turn, Rowan. He's going. And then I'm like, Rowan, turn. And then I hear, he basically just flipped over, smashed. He landed in the flat area. And I get down to him and I'm laughing so hard. I help pick him up.
You totally would.
And then he's like, I'm like, are you okay? And he's just like, yeah, the snow kind of covered my fall. I'm like, okay, I'll go down. I'll meet you down at the bottom. And Earl starts going again. I'm like, turn! Still not turning. And he's French frying that, just like he's gunning it.
Yep.
He keeps going over to the right, and he's getting closer and closer to the fence.
Oh,
like really close to the fence.
No.
And right before he goes about to the fence, he goes like, he basically, like the way he described to me is like, I can either go through the fence or I could jump to the left. So he like pushed himself to the left and just tumbled down the rest of the way. He got a lot better throughout the day, but he fell a lot. So
that's what happens. That's the first thing even in snowboarding too. Is the first day you fall on your ass so
my
many
uncle
times.
broke his wrist that way. So I'm not a huge snowboarder fan. Or
No,
snowboarding fan.
Yeah, well, no, that's because you didn't fall on his ass. You fell on his wrist.
Yeah.
You don't fall on your. You fall on your ass.
Which hurts, man. Shayna's friend, when she went snowboarding, she like apparently like they got like a little crack in her tailbone because of how many times like she was falling so hard. Like apparently she wasn't falling right. She just kind of went like kunk every time, and she's like, why is my ass still hurt like 3 days afterwards? And she went to the doctor and was like, no, crack.
Hairline fracture.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like okay, not that bad. It was like I think it was just like real. Maybe it was like really really bruised. I know it wasn't like a fracture. I just know it was like a little thing. Like it was enough to be like, oh shit, like. Jesus.
Yeah, you should rest up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like fall on your back, but don't like kill yourself and just fall on your ass a bit. But there's a lot of falling, like rolling. Don't fall on a limb. Don't stretch out, like, don't fall on your knees or like, especially don't put your hands out. It's like in football too, like if you get tackled, you don't put your hands out.
You put your shoulder forward, right?
Yeah, kind of like that too. Like you don't,
because you got the
you don't land. Yeah, you don't land on your hands because then they'll break your wrists. You snap them back, they'll break if you put enough force in it.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do. That you get literally bone bruises will make it better.
It's like that you remind me. It's like one of the main reasons I will never do like, you know that machine that's like a leg press. I think it's leg press where you just push up like that.
Yeah,
Your
that's a
legs?
like one
Yeah,
leg press. Yeah.
I vow not to do that because I was watching like
Just
just
squat
random
instead?
videos and
Okay.
I saw this one guy who was doing it and he locked his legs and he's like help and then it went the other way, like his knee like cracks the other way, and ever since I saw that I was like it's one of those like fears now that I have where it's like anything that's locked will get like, kicked the other way.
Yeah, but now you know you have to do it because that guy was just going way too hard, and plus you didn't have anybody to help him out.
Yeah.
If you just do it with somebody, then you're fine.
I'm like thinking it right now. It's like making me jittery.
Well, as soon as you get on the thing and put it on a really low weight, you'll be like, oh, this is fine. Just don't put it on like a 3 time on like.
Or just don't lock your knees.
Yeah, don't lock your knees. Like you can extend, but don't like
lock them.
Yeah, like hard.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, that's
So
just.
I guess you're just a pure squat guy now.
Yeah, I'm a squat guy. Squat goals through and through. I haven't gone to the gym in a long time.
I went.
These are some good
Monday.
tangents.
One Monday.
I can see you're looking a lot better, I have to say.
Oh, I'm looking great.
I can see your veins. That's
you
hot,
You can
apparently.
always see my veins.
No, but like they pop out.
They always popped out.
Really? I didn't really
Pretty
notice.
veiny guy. I don't even need.
Hey, ladies, Michael's veiny. Veiny free.
She goes like,
Do you want a veiny guy? Michael's your dude.
This is just signs of shame.
What? Oh my god, can
Yeah.
we use Tea Time Boys as a vessel just to get you like a girlfriend?
How about no? Hey, you know what? If that,
Who needs Tinder? We'll use Tea Time Boys. Get like one person who's just like, haha, that Michael guy's pretty funny. I'll be like, what's your name? I'll set you up. Send me a picture. Let's see if you're like.
but she'll be imaginary because nobody's gonna listen to this
nobody's gonna watch
stuff.
it. If anything, it's just gonna be one of my friends pretending to be a girl.
Stop. Just because I fell for that once doesn't mean it happened. Doesn't mean it'll happen.
What did you even think about that? I have to tell the story.
I thought you already did. You already
No.
did. You freaking did.
Have I told this story?
Yes, you have.
All right, I'll do a quick sum up. How's that? Just in case, because I don't remember. It's basically
Can
like.
Can I have the dignity of telling this, please?
No, because you were gonna make it sound like people sound different on the phone.
They do.
It was clearly a rouge. It was clearly a rouge. Hey, Michael, it's me. You're like, oh, hey, Shino, what's up? Oh, Stuart touched my boobies. And you're like, oh, no, this is really awkward.
Look, it was very faint in the background.
People sound different on the phone.
They do. It was faint. He wasn't right.
All right, you tell your version of.
Okay, so I was calling him I was calling Stu to ask if he could look at my resume.
Yeah.
To apply for a job, and then I knew he just got a girlfriend, but like I hadn't met her yet. I didn't know what she sounded like at all, and so he was in the car. He put this on his car Bluetooth speaker, so everybody does sound freaking different in the car. Number one, so I recognized him, but like it was faint in the back. That it was just some weird ass like it's weird voice that was really high pitched because it's faint and he's doing a falsetto. So I'm thinking, oh shoot, she's. And I'm thinking to myself, like when he told me his girlfriend was crazy, I was thinking like, oh shoot, yeah man, she is crazy because she was like, I was just touching Stuart over here, and I was like, oh okay. Well, I guess I'll come back another time.
Yeah,
man.
like made it so awkward, and then you came over.
And the next day, I was like, "Yeah, man, dude, your girlfriend is crazy." And then
You started bragging to Rowan.
I was like, "Bro, your girlfriend is crazy." And then Rowan was like, my dude, do you understand?" And then George just starts literally like blowing a lung out from laughing so hard, because then he tells me, "Oh, that was a rouge," with a high pitched voice. I was like, "Well, the freaking the falsetto in the car." And the car like mic speaker system, whatever it was, going through my phone too. It was cool. It was like it made sense after the fact, but in the moment, I was like, okay, this is just weird.
Well, the best part is you went to a Rowan and you were like,
yeah,
hey,
man, this girl is
like,
crazy.
Like, oh my god, like, you have no idea what Shayna said to me yesterday. And literally 10 minutes ago, I was telling Rowan, oh, he totally believed that Shayna was in the car. It was just a rouge doing, like, a high-pitched voice. And, okay, I have to tell you, it was not that good. It was like, hey, it's me, Shayna. He touched touch my boobies, Stuart, and you're like, oh geez, should I hang up? It's just the most awkward.
I'm not that. Look, to everybody who actually, to nobody who's gonna listen to this, and to everybody who's gonna listen to this, all 0 people. I'm not terribly stupid. I just have my moments of bad judgment, and this was one of them. If you were in my shoes, it was a little bit more believable. It wasn't like I'm not saying I shouldn't be ridiculed. Just don't make me sound like I'm a complete idiot. That's it. That's all I ask.
I hope so. There's a really popular thing on YouTube where they at least some of the stuff I've seen where they animate certain scenes that people talk through podcasts or let's plays.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to see that animated.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just a rouge and a wig. You're like, yeah, of course, yeah, it's totally Shado. It's totally a girl. It's like, hey.
No, and me getting off the phone being like, wow, he wasn't kidding. His girlfriend's nuts.
Oh my god.
And then you told her, and she was just like, huh. She was like totally laughing, not even impressed.
I know.
I'm kind of glad that she didn't laugh in my face about that. Just like, well then, I have great impression on meeting on new people.
I mean, that's how it goes. You know, I want to talk about this one topic.
Oh damn, that sounds like it's gonna be slightly serious. Okay.
Well, not really.
Will I be ready for it?
Yeah.
In my heart and soul.
It's not serious at all. I've been reading a whole bunch of stuff and watching a whole bunch of videos lately, analysis videos on fighting games.
Oh, okay.
And I've been really, really getting into how cool the mindset is. And one of the things that really popped in my head was taunting and mind games and all that stuff.
Because I think they actually the more you get into fighting games, the more you actually think like a real fighter. Because if you look at some actual fights,
there's that MMA fighter that she actually dressed up as Sagat, the eye patch and
really?
and she would go like this, and then during the photo shoot she did the cross arms thing. It's awesome.
With actual fighters, you're guessing where the opening is gonna be, because if you're in a perfect stance, right, you have to be you have to know where to hit high, low, middle, with how much force, what move you're gonna do, because there's different punches and kicks, just how the body moves and stuff. Yep. And so when you're actually doing that in a fighting game, you're looking at the other person, you're looking at the other character as well as yourself to see if what you're in the position for, where you should block, and just it is kind of a real fight. You have to think about what you're gonna do next, but also react to what's going on at the moment. You have to I would compare the commands you're going to put into the video game controller as to gearing up for actually doing the move if you're an actual fighter. So it is that kind of mindset is pretty cool.
Are you comparing MMA fighting to fighting games sort of thing?
Yeah, there's even or judo.
I totally agree.
Yeah, or judo capoeira or
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga, karate, taekwondo, things like that, where I'd say more. Not judo, because there isn't a lot of grappling, and maybe a little less
Judo's
MMA.
all grappling, isn't it? It's just all.
No, I'm saying less grappling in fighting games.
Oh, in fighting games, yeah.
Because they're all quick grapples, and there isn't a lot of grappling.
There's a fighting game that's like that.
Yeah.
It's not Virtual Fighter. What is it? Oh, I can't remember. It's this N64 game. It's really, really, really weird. They had this Egyptian dude. He had he's this really fat guy, and he has a pyramid on his head, and he holds his hands up like they were snakes. And every time he one of his attacks is literally the Egyptian you know what I'm
a bad dance move.
You know like hieroglyphics or kind of drawings where it's
yeah.
You
they're
walk
walking
like an Egyptian. That's literally one of his moves is to jab at you like that, and he goes no a lot more racist.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
So but in a lot of fighting games, my point was, but they're, aside from this weird pyramid headed fat Egyptian
racist stuff has always been racist. Okay, maybe not necessarily racist, but stereotypes, whether they be racist or not, are always in fighting games.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you. Was it
Street Fighter?
Mike Bison?
Mike Bison?
Mike Bison, that's it.
Mike Bison. Yeah. But I'm saying in that, except for that one, there isn't a lot of grappling, and unless it's a UFC fighter game where you actually have ground and pound. And even in judo, I don't know if they have a lot of grounded pounded judo, but if it's just more throws.
It's a lot more of just using your momentum.
Yeah,
I don't think it's too much punching.
But in a lot of fighting games, there's a lot of strikes, in like real fighting, you can't throw fireballs or projectiles at people. You can't take a dagger out of your back pocket and chuck it at somebody's head.
The main reason for that sort of stuff is because of camera and like positioning. So in an MMA fight, yeah, you can't like send that like long range projectile sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But like you're constantly in that person's face. How close you and I are is about on average how close an MMA fight is.
Yeah, for sure.
They're pretty close, and that's what it has to be.
Yeah, and the range is only established if you're gonna do a kick.
Exactly, like it's not that far. So when in Street Fighter, like or any other game, when you get punched, there's knockback.
Yeah.
And with knockback, you can also jump back and go back. So you can back up, but the guy's gonna follow you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Street Fighter, the way that kind of popped in like the Hadouken was to make it so that it makes it interesting when they're not far away after like say maybe a combo or they've been knocked back. Like it still keeps up the game, so they're not going like boom boom like instead of just bulls ramming at each other constantly getting knocked back. It's actually like like
you can make some distance.
Yeah, and it makes it more interesting, right? Like instead of just running at each other and mashing the button, see who goes first.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like I can use this attack, and it forces either you to block or to come at me, which is a bait, which then I can use. Like it mixes it up and makes it interesting.
And like that's one of the differences too. But there are throws and stuff like that, but they're quick throws. And it's not like a grapple where you pick a guy up and slam him down and stay on him to get a tap out. Like, you're not going to win. You can win Street Fighter via TKO or something like that, or straight knockout. Well, you win via TK. Tekken, I think, is the one that has TKO and KOs. If you do a certain combo, you can just knock a guy out maybe before the health bar goes up, or it just drains really quick. Instead of a TKO where you chip away, I get at it gradually. I haven't played Tekken in a while, so I can't really speak much about it.
I think it.
But you can't like tap a guy out or a girl out. You can't do that. You can't just like put him. You can't pick somebody up, put him down, put him in like a triangle or an armbar, and then just wait for him to surrender.
But that's the thing. Like you don't need that in a lot of fighting games because it's usually the tap outs are because like I'm done. I can't fight anymore, right? And if you had a tap out in a fighting game, it would make it a lot less interesting, right? If someone gets angry, if someone gets all that stuff, right? Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, for example, the only tap out I can think of is in Smash Brothers where you can commit suicide, right? You can just...
Yeah, but that's not a conventional fighting game. Like,
but what I'm saying is that you can.
Yeah,
like,
you can.
If you get angry.
Yeah, you can just do that.
So the tap out, I think, isn't necessarily need for that.
Yeah.
And for the getting down there, I think there's too much nuance in that. I think there's like kind of like in boxing, like because you're that up close and there's certain things that you have to do, it's just a little too.
Yeah, I think
like I'm like the person on top has to think about where his head's going, what the ref's thinking, like all that stuff, which in fighting games would take like probably just an insane time to even think of something to do.
I mean, if you like look at something like in a WWE or UFC game where you could have tap outs. Like, you can grab somebody and put them into a submission, but you have to, like, hit a button combination where the opponent has to match them to block or something. In, like, WWE, what they do is you have to go and stay along there. Like, you have the opponent's bar and your bar in, like, a circle, and you have to chase the cursor of your opponent around the circle and stay on it for a couple seconds. I would think that if you had something... I think it could still work out as long as, like... Let's say somebody pops like a super or something like that, and in order to block it, you have to match their moveset. I think it would be something kind of similar to that. Like that
what do you mean? Like, say like I do a super Hadouken.
Not like a super Hadouken, but let's say you do that like a finishing move, like a Shoryuken with Ryu, right? And it has like a bunch of different moves where you can block them, or you can parry all of them, right? If you had something like that where you put somebody in a hold, like you have to hit a button set, and then the other person has to match that to either delay the effectiveness or just cancel out the move or counter it. I think that would add to the fighting game too, because it adds an extra dimension to it. Like, instead of just being like a strike-based game, where you're just talking about range, you switch the thinking completely, and you're going to, okay, there we have like X number of seconds. I have to he's pressing a couple of buttons. I have to match those on my controller to see how he's gonna move or how hard he's going or what combination in order to tap the guy out. Otherwise, even like that leads to comebacks too. Like you could be at full health and that guy and your opponent could be like really low. But if he gets you, if you give up some range and get him in a good hold, then it kind of shows a different aspect of your mindset for a fighting game, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. Like, I think that'd be really cool, but it'd
be too hard to program.
Well, no, I think you could create a cool mini game, but I think the big problem is figuring out a balance that makes it so that it's balanced on both sides, and it's also not too complicated, but also not too simple.
Yeah. Sure.
So, like, for example, too simple would be one guy, like, just both of them button mash.
Yeah. Right?
That would just kind of take it out of it, because it'd be like, okay, I'm taking skill, like, just button mash is crazy. It's not that fun. Like, yeah. It's just kind of like, you just kind of leaves it out there. And then,
it's
like,
less of a mind game. It's more just a physical constraint, because, like, some people just don't have that.
They have it in Smash Brothers where if you grab something, you can wiggle out, but
yeah,
most times people are going to get something off that because they had a good read.
Yeah.
I'd say the big thing, like, and then going on, like, too complicated for, like, that sort of grapple would be, like, match what button they're going to press, because that's just too many mind games. You have 8 buttons.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, like,
I'd limit it to 4. I limited it to 4, like.
What I was thinking was, like, you could have a mini game where one guy's trying to, like, wiggle out, and the other guy's trying to catch his wiggles. So the way it works is, like, you have up, down, left, right, and the other guy has A, B, X, Y.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So if it's an Xbox controller, like, Y is up, A is down, B is right, X is left.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're seeing someone just go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, you can hit X, B, X, B, X, X, B, X, B. So basically, like, as they wiggle there, you're punching them.
Yeah.
So it'd be a mind game where it's like you have to figure out.
As somebody's going left, as somebody's trying to wiggle left, you punch them right, or you punch them right as they're trying to wiggle.
If they go right and you hit B, which is the right, it hits them.
Okay.
Think of it like if I'm on the ground, like, and they go this way, and you come in from the right, it's just gonna slam them, right?
Yeah.
And I think it'd be cool to have that'd
be a good idea. So nobody take this from us. Our idea. We want royalty checks. Well, him, because he came up with the idea, but
I didn't even think of the grapple idea. I just pushed it out of the way, like.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, it could work. I mean, it has to work for a UFC game, right? I think the difference between the UFC game and, like, a Street Fighter game is that obviously you have, like, less crazy ass kicks. Like,
it's also slower. It's just genuinely gonna be slower.
It's realistic, right? Like,
exactly.
If you find some guy in an actual fight, like you see real street fights, they're just ugly. Like, you don't want to watch them and be like, yay!
You haven't seen Fast and the Furious.
Which one?
What are the? It's like 7 or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
What are the movies with? It's just like, you know what happens in street fights? The street always wins. And then he stomps the ground, and the ground crumbles beneath the bad guy, and he falls to his death.
What the hell?
It's like the best ending. I love it. And that's what he thought. It's just like, street fights are so much different in real life, and I just thought Vin Diesel going like, the street always wins, and he steps on the ground.
Yeah, no, but it's just like, if you have a real street fight between guys who aren't good at, like, who are just brawler guys from, like, bars, right? You're punching a guy in the face, and neither of you can see half the time, and you're raking a guy with haymakers.
It's usually pretty fast too.
Yeah, it's
usually
fast.
Like, if one person dodges and then, like, pops him on the, like, side of the head. Yeah. It's usually the end of the street fight. And like, he's down.
You hit a guy, you trip him, and he's on the ground, and then you punch him a bit, and then you, like, walk away because the other guy's probably drunk too.
Exactly, and then it's like, okay, I've won.
But I mean, you can't expect to, like, jump and do like a jumping crane kick on a guy, or like a
shoryuken kid is literally the worst thing you could do in real life.
Well, just
imagine doing like
a shoryuken.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing: you're never gonna get that close. Like, you try it, you're spending more time with the flare doing a twirl than actually getting contact. So you get getting, like, if you're in an actual fight, you just want to land the uppercut, and then once you land, you're not gonna think, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna go for it. Like, it's a big risk. Like,
shoryuken is just an extreme follow through of an uppercut. Right?
Yeah, right. But, like, he's so confident that he's gonna follow through for it. He's pushing off the ground. Imagine you try for that and the guy misses. You're doing a freaking awful looking pirouette in the air, and then you land on the
like
ground
as
behind
you're
him.
in the air, he's just gonna punch you in the gut. Like
He'll freaking pick you. He'll like kick you in the nards as soon as you land. Like you're landing and you're like, oh. after you do your freaking pirouette kick, he'll kick you in the nards and you're down. It's like, well, this is like it'd be so cool if you could actually land this stuff, like do jumping kicks.
Oh, you seen like this?
But you can't. Like the guy will just pick you. The guy will trip you and punch you in the face.
Well, I mean, it's basically like the way Shoryuken works is that it like takes the bot, like it's so powerful that it like literally knocks them on the air. There's oh fuck.
And that's how Sagat got his. That's how Sagat got his scar.
Yeah, and then that's why he got all his like tiger uppercut, tiger something other, whatever the thing is.
Tiger slash or some crap.
Yeah, something like that. You ever played Deadliest Warrior, the game?
Yes.
I was playing it yesterday a bit.
I think I played with you. What's the? Oh, I think the dumbest one is where you can. Isn't that one of the native guy like the Apache just chucks a bunch of axes at you? Like you can't have that many axes. There's no way you have like 55 axes on you.
I was playing with a Rouge.
Tomahawks.
He's so douchey. He was just like
mashing.
I was on Apache, he was Samurai, and he just like 5 arrows would leave me with like a fraction of health left, and then I'd run over to him because like that's all you can do, and then he just hit me. And the best is that there's a slight chance with any not any projectile, but with like a whole bunch of projectiles.
Then you get a kill shot.
That you'll just instantly kill them. So like the Viking, if like you like aim it right, you could just like start the game. Like I started a game where I just pressed circle, went right into his head, and it was like game, and it's like why? Like I kind of understand why he programmed it,
true, right?
But at the same time, like. That completely removes all.
That's not gameplay. It's just luck. Right?
It's luck. Well, you don't want too much luck in a fighting
even Soul
game.
Calibur, sure, it makes sense that you like stage out.
Fucking ring out bullshit. I hate that.
I love that. I use
Do you
it to
want
my
more
advantage.
tea, by the way?
Yeah, sure. I love that because it's also it's great. But the bad part about Soul Calibur is just button mash.
Oh yeah. Especially.
I like how the three I thought it was more I thought it was Raphael.
Oh yeah. Ha 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 ha. He's like.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know.
Maxie's the guy with the nunchucks, and you go like. Yeah. And like beat like that is button mash.
For those of you who don't know these characters, like Raphael is like a musketeer, like with a fencing rapier.
Yeah, you know what I just realized? He's like basically as French could be, and he's got a British accent. His name's Raphael.
Could be an English guy. Well, back then it was common as like the English people had French names. Wasn't the aristocracy had like French names or something? They spoke French and stuff.
When?
I think there was a period of time where English people were in England like you'd speak French. They would speak French as like either like the higher language or a second language where a lot of people would use it.
Huh.
And so that would make sense why a guy named Raphael. But that's why I think you have a lot of names that are people who have family names that are French but they've been English forever, like Cara Delevingne. Delevingne is it's a French last name, but
I just don't know that person.
Cara Delevingne.
No.
You seen Suicide Squad? You know Enchantress. That.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. So she's British, but her last name is French. Or like there's a famous English soccer player named Paul Gascoigne, but in French it's pronounced something else. Gascoigne or something like that. But it probably means something like from Gascony, and Gascony is in France. So like these names are French, but they're like English people. Like they're super English people.
That is weird. I didn't know that.
So that would kind of make sense for historical accuracy. But I mean, that's about where Soul Calibur drops off.
Yeah, and then you have like an 8 foot tall executioner named Astaroth.
Yeah, and Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda, who's unfucking fair because no high attack would ever hit him.
Because he's too short.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they got Cervantes, right? Because there was like a pirate, Miguel Cervantes Saavedra.
But I mean, like,
but he's like a ghost pirate with like blue skin.
Yeah,
just
he's awesome though.
Spanish Blackbeard.
He was the father of Ivy.
He was Ivy, like from
the big chested like whip sword girl with the short gray hair.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great parenting 101. No issues there.
I was pretty sure he's dead. So.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the characters in Soul Calibur. You know, actually, like looking back at fighting games, I really love like the character selection. It's probably some of the best parts of fighting games. You know?
Yeah, even like could they? Could some? Were there fighting games where you can make your own character, aside from like WWE, and maybe in UFC?
Soul Calibur.
You can make your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can make it in Soul Calibur. I think Tekken.
Yeah, I really want. I really want to play some Tekken now, man. I haven't. I like last time.
I'd love to too, but I don't have Tekken. That's the sad part.
Is it downloadable?
Yeah, it's probably like $60 though. I'd rather go to GameStop.
Yeah, for sure.
It's easier because I could probably get like Street Fighter X Tekken, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, true. I remember like I played. Wait, there was this one game I remember. When I was younger, I used to play like laser tag at this place in Richmond Hill, like a couple birthdays, and they installed like this. They installed like this fighting game which was weapons based, but I don't think it was Soul Calibur because there was a lot of more people in it.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what it was. I don't know what it was, but it was like one where you would. It was a combat striking fighting game.
Virtual Fighter.
But it had like three. But it was like people had weapons in it. Like they would use weapons like Soul Calibur. I don't know if it was that. It might have been that, but it was similar to it, if not that itself.
There's some really cool like. The more I think about it, the more I just love all these cool fighting games that come out. Like Injustice is really cool.
I was actually watching some. Sorry to cut you off, but I was watching like some of like the entrances from Injustice there too.
They did their fucking research. I love that shit. It's so cool. Like, and each person, like each interaction between like two people will have like 5 or 6 different like voice lines.
But what awesome. I thought kind of took away from it was they put Mortal Kombat characters in there.
Yeah,
and Hellboy, which is
it's
like
NetherRealms. They had to, you know.
I was like,
it's the same people who made Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it makes so much sense, right? But then you're just like, you could make an excuse that why would I want Injustice when I could just get
Mortal Kombat?
Like they're both ridiculous. They're both like physically ridiculous. Like how is it possible that you can chuck a guy into space and then punch him back down to Earth and then he still can get up for the next hitbox? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make like they're both equally ridiculous like that.
I love
but they have the same and they have the same mechanics, right? But you know why'd you have to just say that? Oh, it's the same thing. We just switched. We just did some. We just did some like avatar creation, and then we just,
Did you see the new ones that are coming out? It was like a new DLC pack.
Well, I just know there was
Hellboy, Black Manta.
Yeah, I saw that's what I was watching the other day. Black Manta.
Cool. I love Black Manta.
Yeah, Black Manta. They had Sub-Zero.
That was it. No, Raiden was the new guy.
Raiden was the new one. Yeah, but Sub-Zero was before, I guess.
Yeah.
And that seems like it seems like a really good game. And you know what? Those guys, I swear, they did a better job putting people like making the characters in that game than they did with any freaking movie that's coming out for.
I think it's because like at least in video games there's like a really big sense of disbelief. And I think ever since Marvel movies made superhero movies popular,
like
there's a real need, and like, Dark Knight Rises and stuff, and like Dark Knight series, there's been a real need to make it as like realistic
rather than canon.
But
I'm saying like
I mean like I prefer a cool Batman that's like kind of like over the top, but like I don't know. I feel like
I'm thinking their portrayal there, like when they have Kevin Conroy doing anything. Kevin Conroy is obviously the best Batman, but like how they portray him in the video games is really is him. Like no offense to Christian Bale or Ben Affleck, but I think I think Ben Affleck is a little too urgent, and I think Christian Bale was they made it more, too much. It was a great movie series, but it was less of. I don't know. With him, it was they personalized it too much, right?
I didn't feel like Batman was smart in The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah, he got played a bit.
He never felt like the world. Like he felt like Batman, but he didn't feel like the world's greatest detective. You know, like he felt like really good action scenes, but I didn't feel like, man, that Bruce Wayne is a smart dude. It was just kind of like, he's Batman.
It's one of those ones where you're trying to identify with him, or just like you see them get themselves in their own pickle. That's what I kind of don't like when I'm watching these. Like, what I really like is when you have, like, a show...
Can I just quickly say, we always go back to comics. I love
this. We always go back to, like... But what was there is, like, I really like it when you have characters that are... Obviously, they're well-rounded in video games and movies and stuff, but if you have one guy that really knows his or girl that has his or her stuff together, I think that's really cool. Like, even as a side character, not a Superman character, but...
That's why I really wish you saw Wonder Woman, man. Because, like no spoilers, but... They know how to write a side character. And, like, you know, there could be a whole bunch of, like, arguments, like, because it was a man, like, you know, all this shit. But what I can say, like, through and through, is that they really decided that they really wanted a strong side character.
Yeah.
And they made the side character, like, you know, he has no powers. He's a pilot, that's about it.
He's a dude.
But he's, like, invaluable to the team. He's really, really handy. And they made Wonder Woman this, like, basically, they made her, like, not this bumbling, like, you know, stereotypical woman sort of thing. Like, walking down the street, like, for example, she walks down the street one time, and she goes, a baby, oh my god. And she does it not because, you know, she's a woman, she must see a baby, but because literally she was the only child on her island growing up. Every single person on the island gave her the same look. So this is her first time ever seeing a baby, and so to her it's like a miracle. It's like, holy crap, you are so, like, you guys are at war, but you're able to have something as beautiful as a baby. And I'm like, that's good writing compared to, say, Lois Lane, who in, like, Batman vs Superman did jack squat, and then it's like, okay, Lois, one job, get the kryptonite spear, and then she's like, and, like, basically drowns, and Superman's like, oh, fine, fuck it, I'm gonna die, but I'll grab it anyway. Like, did Lois Lane do anything in those movies?
I don't know. Like, I mean,
I don't have sex in the bathtub with the Clark. Remember, that was a bad.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
She sex in the bathtub with a Clark.
It's like, yeah. It's like the first. It's like one of the first scenes. Like, she's like, remember, she's in that desert area.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the terrorists are gonna attack, and then Superman just comes in. The other guys start shooting the terrorists, make it look like Superman did it. Superman saves Lois. And then she's like, later on, it's like the news, like, Superman did this, and she's in the bath, and then Clark just comes over. It's like, why, you saved me? And he's like, did you kill those men? And he's like, I didn't kill those men. And then just in his full suit, just climbs in the bathtub with her and starts making out with her, still in his full clothes, and just starts going to town. And I can say it must have been the most awkward sex ever, because, like, taking off clothes regularly is quite clumsy, but imagine trying to do it while you're in a bathtub. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, who wrote this? What sick fantasy did you want to put in a Superman movie? Like, did they read 50 Shades of Grey? They're like, yes, like, let's put Superman has says Lois Lane in the bathtub. I'm complaining about stupid things.
Yeah, you totally are.
It's stupid. I didn't like. Well, okay, it was funny.
At least I found, like, at least what's good in, like, the video games, get back to that, was everybody, like, nobody. There wasn't, like, some arc where you saw weakness in everybody. Like, there was storylines, but everyone pretty much was, like, super confident in themselves.
Have you read the comics, like the Injustice comics?
No, but I know it's, like, really, really dark. That's why it's probably
Green Arrow's death is, like, fucked up. Like, basically, he, like, pops into Fortress of Solitude to, like, get this thing to, you know, like, take Superman down, and Superman gets
dumbass,
and Superman just gets pissed off, and, like, all you see is, like, basically from Green Arrow's eye, like, point of view, as just Superman just beats him to death, like, just full, just destroys him, and he's just like, I'll miss you, Black Swan, as he just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it when Injustice, because it makes Superman, like, a total asshole. And I was like, then it's not the same guy. Like,
well, Injustice was literally all about what if Superman broke. I think that's it. Like, what if this pinnacle of everything just broke? I think the way he broke.
They can still put him in check, though. There are a lot. I mean, it depends on how you're gonna write it, because there's so many other, like, that's the thing. Like, you reminded me before, like, in comics, there's so much variation. There's always, like, a loophole.
Yeah.
And they're and
if I was Superman, I would immediately go to Batman's cave and just destroy it if I turned evil, because I'd feel like the only person who could take me down would probably be Batman.
Well, he would. I think it'd be a team effort, but he'd be instrumental to it.
I just kill Batman as fast as I could.
Yeah, that would make some sense, because he's one of the guys that would literally. I don't think he's one of the few guys that could do it. Could team up to take him down, because, you know, in, like, comic books, they kind of stifle their creativity after a while, so you have to, even in characters, and, like, there's only so many, you know, plots and characters that you could think of in literature of any sort.
Like the time Mary Jane got radioactive poison from Spider-Man's semen. This is the literal storyline. Not at all what I was going for. Because he's radioactive, and then, like, they have sex, and then she gets cancer. It's like, who thought of that? How, like, Well, like, were you up till 5 a.m.? Be like, fuck, I don't know, she gets cancer because Spider-Man jizzed in her or something like that, and it becomes an actual comic book series.
I was thinking more along the lines of there's like, Batman is kind of, well, there's characters that are like really good detectives and super logical and not really emotional, kind of like
Batman and
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, but can you think of anyone else in DC who's like that?
Well, I'm saying there's certain attributes, like you can be super smart, and there's like 5 different people who are super smart, like Damien Dark, like Brainiac technically speaking, but you have, Lex Luthor. There's a bunch of different characters that are super duper smart, like Tetch.
Who's Tetch?
He's the guy who he's a character. He's a Batman rogues gallery kind of guy. But there's a lot of evil scientist guys,
Yeah,
or like evil
like
super
good
smart
guys. Like I feel like Batman's the only good smart guy. This is like
Well, you could say the Green Arrow has like a technically like very similar like lifestyle, so he could be super smart as well. But I mean, that's not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was like you run out of characters that even there they kind of re-up themselves. So you can like there's this guy called Black Lightning. There's also another dude called Static Shock. They're like the same guy. They're different dudes, but their skill set's basically the same thing.
I think his name's just Static.
Or Static, sorry, yeah, whatever. This show was Static Shock when I watched it when I was a kid. But they're like the same guy. They're different guys, literally, but they're like the character is not much different.
I was thinking of Black Adam.
No, Black Adam's a villain, right? Who's a villain of Shazam, but Shazam or Captain Marvel was like Superman before Superman, and he's close to being able to kick his ass.
I'm gonna show you like really, really weird.
Like I can't think of another like parallel in literature, but there's certain characters, right? Like there's a guy who's like the typical like drunk playboy guy. There's another dude who's like really. There's a lot of characters like in popular TV shows that are super smart but can't relate to anybody else. Like Scorpion's based completely off of that. That show Scorpion. It's about where they get a bunch of like geniuses to save the world in many different times. But a collection of really intelligent people put together in a super team. Anyway, that's Scorpion.
The only like when you said insufferable genius, all I thought about was Sheldon.
Yeah.
And it made me.
But they ripped. But you could say they ripped
made me
off.
Pissed off about
the new show. Because he thinks it's a money grab.
No shit, it's a money grab.
Well, you could
the same thing with Friends. Quite literally.
Oh, with Joey.
Yeah, look how well that turned out.
Yeah, but at least they're like what they did was they capitalized. They took like a super funny character and they're like, why don't we just, even though a lot of the jokes came there, let's like, well, why don't we just do something else there too?
Mini Sheldon is.
Yeah, I know that's exactly what it is.
It's like but
some people enjoy that. I get maybe we'll see.
Maybe
I was just like, really, you had to like do.
I mean, for every Joey, there's like Frasier, right?
I found Frasier is actually quite a nice show. I really enjoyed it.
No, Frasier's amazing. That's what I'm saying. Like it got like a shit ton of Emmys. It's hilarious, and to me, it's better than Cheers.
I haven't really seen a lot of Cheers, but I know, I know that's where it came from.
I would say it's better than Cheers.
Like
because Frasier just hits certain points. Like it's a really, like it's a good show generally, and then like every once in like a good amount of time in episodes they put in like little intellectual jokes that just nail it and like pop it up another level.
Yeah, I get your point with that, but like I think what they did with that show, like as the young Sheldon, they're highlighting there are people like him, that that are super smart but have a hard time relating to people. I found like myself too, like even though I'm not as smart as him, but just I found sometimes if I was really into my schoolwork, just going into it a lot, and that was what I was focusing on a lot of the time. It was harder for me to just like pick up on what other people were up to. It's or, like what they were trying to like joke with me. Like I'm bad with some people like ripping on me. Sometimes the jokes just fly over my head, or what people say will fly over my head. But other times I'll just be like, okay, it's kind of funny, but why'd you have to say that? There's a nicer way for you to say it. Like what's up? So like it's kind of like him too, where he just can't take a joke at all.
No, his is more like it's clearly like a spectrum. Like he's clearly autistic, and that's what they're kind of going for. Now he's getting better, and I'm not saying that like it's clearly like and there's certain levels of the spectrum and all that such, but that's clear what they're trying to go for, right? And it's supposed to be like he's an outcast, but he's a lovable outcast. I feel like more people would relate to Leonard than to Sheldon.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like what happened? I remember like I really liked the show. And I was talking with a friend of mine. Now I hadn't seen him in a while, but at the time he was the one person that told me that why he doesn't like Sheldon because he's just a dick. And I was like, he's not that much of a. He's not like that. He's like you get he's a dick, but he's not like really like a dick. He just doesn't know any better. And then I look at some of the things that he says. I was like, nah. He had a point. This guy's just a dick sometimes.
No, he's a dick. Like there's a difference.
He doesn't even care. Like he doesn't give a crap. Like he's just like, oh, I'm gonna get. He gets like he's so petty sometimes that you're just like, are you kidding me? How no one's gonna feel sorry for you ever because you're just like we get it. You're smart and people are intimidated by you and we get it. But then when you go back and just say everyone's an asshole that you don't even know, like. You're freaking like you're dumb in ways which you won't admit because you're so used to thinking you're so smart.
See, that's the thing. I feel like that's why Sheldon isn't particularly well written because I think Sheldon is like socially, he's not good at like certain things, but he's real like socially, he's absolutely amazing at like this kind of trash talk, like almost kind of, and like you could say like, oh, he's not actually thinking about it, but. It's to like a high degree, and there were a lot of people in my school who were autistic. One of them was one of my friends, and he honestly, it's not about like being dickish. He just wasn't social at all. There wasn't a single facet of it. There wasn't like, oh, he wasn't social by being nice. He wasn't social by doing this. He just wasn't social. He just didn't know how in general, and I feel like the way I bet you writers saw like this like the autistic thing. And they thought, you know, like, we can't write a show about this. We'll just make it so he misses certain social cues. Like, it's clear he's not autistic. It's just that, like, he's on some sort of spectrum.
It's influenced by that.
It's just to make him naive and smart at the same time. It's the same, like, it's basically, to me, it's like a failed Drax. It's, you know, he's literal, so he misses a whole bunch of stuff. But what he lacks, he gains in a whole bunch of different stuff, like fighting skill and, like, great personality. Which is fun to watch, but Sheldon, I feel, is like I get it was funny at first.
Well, they made him more naive than a dick. It was later on that the guy would just be a total dick.
Yeah, like the first season, he was actually pretty good. Like I still remember it. Like honestly, something that keeps around my household is like there's a scene where like Leonard comes back because he felt shit, like around Penny, and then he immediately is like, "I'll make you a hot cup of tea," and then he said like, "I don't know how to do this." Which is something that people would say. Like, he would be honest. He'd be like, I don't know how to do this. And he just went, like, there.
Yeah.
And it's a funny scene, but it's also, like, that is a huge step for not only the relationship, but Sheldon himself. And that's a good way to do it. Rather than being like, Leonard, you don't know the square root of E equals MC squared, therefore I'm a better scientist. Get over your social life, blah, 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 you know?
Well, I just think, like, I don't like how they're, like, I know there are only a certain number of characters, and you can only, like, every show has, like, prototypical, like, some characters, like, you have a smart guy, a really dumb guy, somebody who's, like, an outcast, whatever it is, but here, they found that character who was receptive with a lot of audiences, and now I think with, like, what disenchants you about the new Sheldon show is that, okay, you're beating a dead horse. I'm thinking, yeah, sure, unless you really write it differently, but it's gonna be the same kid.
It's mini Sheldon. They're not gonna write it differently. They're just gonna make it so that like the only big difference that they're gonna get away with
the
this.
Side characters.
Well, side characters and he's cute. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
Sheldon like isn't necessarily cute in that show. But
in the first one, he's just like he was the crazy guy that you can laugh at. I mean, my dad loved the guy. He's like my dad would nickname the show the Crazy Guys because they were all like in the beginning when it first started, and then it kind of got saturated. And then which wasn't getting too funny. And now they're kind of like, if you've watched the show for a while, they're kind of bringing it back, and that was kind of still funny too because they're playing on older stuff, and they're making actually new and their sense of humor has kind of changed a little bit, but it's it's more receptive now than I think before. With the new Sheldon show, instead of some people could actually argue that this show is reaching its 10th or 11th season, and they're being a dead horse. Like the Simpsons, where they've been beating a dead horse where at one point you were like, yeah, they're beating a dead horse completely. Show's been on for too long. Now with the Sheldon Junior, the young Sheldon show, it's like, okay, now you're really fucking beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
And then and even those a guy like that, there's a character comparable to Sheldon in Scorpion, I forget. I think his name's like the character's name's like Daniel or something, and he ends up,
Dead.
no,
Beaten.
he ends up. Well, he was the guy who actually ends up getting like the female protagonist ends up being his like girlfriend or wife like later on in the show, somewhere. But he's really awkward. Like Sheldon, that he'll just say what he thinks or just do things, but he's learning as he's going along. But he's not a complete dick, like Sheldon is sometimes. And then they'll flip him over to make him kind of whimsical, but then sometimes they'll make him like a complete like dick again. And like there's more continuity there because like when you're writing a sitcom, it's more about the jokes and I think the continuity.
Sheldon is literally just written because Sheldon will say things that people will not, and that's what makes him entertaining.
Yeah,
that is why, and so that's the only reason he was written that way.
Yeah, I think it just gets believable over time because like you've reached these social situations before where this guy literally, if the guy knows how to study and understand really abstract concepts, you can understand when somebody tells him, okay, this is bad, make the pattern in your head, and then play off the pattern in situations similar to it. Because if you're a dick like that, you can't be a dick like that all the time because then you get scolded. It's like a kid, right? You get scolded for it once, and even if you don't think about it, okay, I'm gonna get in trouble for this later. Let me not do it.
Exactly.
And for him, he doesn't give a crap.
And it doesn't.
Or you can't play ignorance a number of times because you can only play ignorance so much, right? Otherwise, after a while, not thinking about it is also kind of like you don't give a crap because you're not thinking about it.
Yeah, like if you were to think about Sheldon's actual life, like just like what they wrote, he has a mother who loves him but constantly beats on him. Like, and not like literally, but like, is constantly like, Sheldon, you need to do this, Sheldon, you need to do that.
Yeah.
Plus, he had a sister. So, like, with both of those two together...
How do you not clue in?
Well, I would say that if somebody said, like Sheldon was just like, well, you're just being, like, a complete dick or something like that, his mother would be on him so fast. And I don't care who you are, like, the scorn of a mother is always going to be... Like it could be social cue, but everyone's attached to their mother, and to have that mother scolding will affect you. It will, and so it's one of those things where it's like unless you don't have that kind of relationship, like it's just to me, it's just like if your mother raised you and you have that close relationship, and she says this is bad, turns out you're probably gonna listen to it, which is why I think the whole dichotomy that they wrote for Sheldon isn't bullcrap. If they made his mother a complete praiseaholic, and then his sister, like, out of the picture really early, then it can make sense, because then he's like, well, he grew up constant praise, that's why he's a dick, because he thinks he's the best, I think
the relationship with his mom doesn't, like... I understand your point, but I think there he just kind of shut her out from early on, just because she seemed a little overbearing. She was one of those, like,
it's still
like, Southern Christian women that would talk a lot of stuff just from the faith and not from the thought. And because he couldn't, like, because she's ragging him all the time, because she's ragging on him all the time, and he doesn't see eye to eye with her about a lot of different things because his interests are completely different, and his mom didn't think, it didn't seem like his mom, like, invested in him as much with his interests. Like, it wasn't like she put him in science competitions. She was just like, oh, now there's Shelley over here. He thought of a really newfangled contraption. Y'all want to show your uncle and aunt that, little Shelley? Okay, that's and when he starts describing, she'll just probably shut him down and be like, oh, well, okay, well, that's a little too much now. Not now. We're about to pray before we're gonna eat dinner.
Yeah, but that's something that I feel like he'd pick up on, because I get that he's smart, but no, like, a really smart 7-year-old. Would still pick up that it's like, okay, my mom, like,
mom doesn't give a crap about what I'm doing.
Yeah, like, I have to understand this. And yeah, he could shut her out, but he clearly still, like, respects and loves his mom.
Yeah,
so it's one of those things where it's like, clearly that character was written to create a dichotomy so that someone could control Sheldon.
Yeah, I feel,
which wouldn't really happen.
My point I was going to bring before is, even though they do make it, since they're so different, that it's, for me, my point was that because she's completely different from how his personality is, and he was able to shut her out and kind of diversify or, like, alienate himself even more from his family, his immediate family. The person who I think the theory about the mom would be more applicable to, the character in the show would be his grandma, who he calls as Meemaw. he won't say anything bad with Mima ever. He'd piss off when somebody talks bad about her, kind of like how a lot of people are with their moms, or when somebody talks about
too, yeah.
Yeah, but that I think the relationship you were speaking about is more at least relatable into the show with him and his grandmother, and it's like I'm pretty sure he saw his grandmother enough for her to also tell him, you do this, you don't do that, and your grandmother does give you advice and they tell you stuff, but in a different tone to your mom. Well, they'll only be overbearing if you're a dick or if you're around them all the time because your mom's not around a lot.
Yeah.
So I think how this guy can't pick up on a freaking basic cue about hurting someone's feelings. If this guy likes it, he spends so much time, or when he was younger, spent enough time with his Meemaw probably would have told him, you do this, you don't do that. And because she's not, because she's saying it to him from a loving perspective and not from a, I gotta deal with him perspective, or because the good book said, or because the good book says so and you're not doing what the good book says, that kind of thing. I think he would more likely listen to his Meemaw rather than his mom, because you see some how Laurie Metcalf plays that character is great, but you could tell like from certain scenes like she's it kind of seems like she deals with him kind of like you deal with like a teacher student, like to a little kid,
say that
right?
She just constantly treats him like he's still that young kid.
That's what I'm saying. Like when you're like a school teacher and you're talking to a little kid, you always kind of have to like act to be more
you have to
calm,
guide them.
Not calm, yeah, you have to guide them and use like certain tones and to like make them, you know what I'm saying? Like she's treating him like a kid and kind of belittling him like that.
How dare she?
Or not belittling him, but like not connecting to him like that. But I think his Meemaw would kind of like not be on him as much as she would do it genuinely to care for him rather than just to deal with him every day. It's a high five thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering why your hand was up.
Okay. Question time, because I think we've talked about like solid 20 minutes of Big Bang Theory. That's kind of why I went silent. I realized I was like, we should probably cut the.
Yeah, we're gonna cut that.
No, we won't. No, I don't want to cut it. I just want to say like we'll stop it there. Let's bring up the question.
In conclusion, Laurie Metcalf's a great actress. So is Jim Parsons. They've run that character to the ground. There's no need for the second show, and there are certain types of characters that appear in a lot of series.
The Bigger Bang Theory.
All right.
That would be a sequel. Anyway, regardless. Okay, so the question we actually came up with this beforehand. Our lovely guest, Michael, came up with this question.
Hmm?
Well, I kind of came up with it, but you
you
started it. Michael, if you were in a boy band, what kind of personality do you think you would be?
I would be in the boy band. I don't know. I think
So like what? Because there's the smart one, there's the cute one, there's the hot one, there's the what else?
Bad boy.
Bad boy. There's the
young one.
Young one.
I don't know if there are any other ones.
I'm trying to think of what I would be.
Funny
one? Sporty one?
Yeah, funny, sporty. Well, that's for a girl group, I guess. The funny one is one of them, right?
Yeah, funny. I would say funny one and sporty one you could do for guys, too.
I thought, like, I could be the smart one, because, if you're a boy band smart, you're probably not that smart.
Well, no, if boy band smart is, like, you wear glasses.
Yeah.
That's boy band smart.
I think I could be, like, the boy, because I'm not the hot one. I'm not the sporty one.
I think I'd either be...
And either I'd be the young one. Young one depends, because that's based on the group. So I think I could be the young one, or maybe the smart one. Not the bad boy, but like definitely not the bad boy. But like if there's like a guy who's like slightly different, like the guy who's like the unique
the quirky one.
Yeah, if there's a quirky one, I'd be the quirky one.
I think I'd be either the funny one. I think
you'd be the young one.
I think I'd be the cute one, like the one that's like like
the baby
not
face?
Like the baby face one. Everyone's just like every 13-year-old's like, oh my god,
I may be the funny one depending.
Tell me a joke. Right now.
Your face.
Oh, I'm the sensitive one.